Well, it's Revolution. And you cannot believe how excited I am for a show I'm actually looking forward to. Looking at you, Royal Rumble. Looking at you, Elimination Chamber. With the third installment of Revolution upon us, I think we are finally starting to see how the pay-per-view schedule really affects AEW storylines. As we close the last chapter of the year known as 2021, leaving us with a perfect babyface champion in Hangman Adam Page and a plethora of talent that is bursting at the seams to fully blossom, Revolution last year was, yes, great, and also a bit questionable. It is still one of the best events AEW puts on, even though it does not maybe have the same gravitas as a Double or Nothing or All Out. And I'm looking forward to this one so much, I'm actually going to do a predictions video. Because believe it or not, Vince, it's possible to feel joy. Anyway, this is Extreme League Wrestling, and here are our predictions for AEW Revolution 2022. Starting out, we have Hook versus QT Marshall. This is going to be a Hook match, and I'm all here for it. I have a crush on this man, and I don't know why. It's really beautiful to see something that started out as a meme blossom into one of the best things in professional wrestling right now. And honestly, if Hook's debut did not coincide with the same year that we've had of Jade Cargill, I would argue that Hook is the Rookie of the Year for AEW in the year 2021. But yeah, Hook's gonna do Hook things. And also, Promo Joe is probably going to make a video cutting Hook matches and Taz matches so I get the references in the match and that make me feel fairly dumb. Next up, we have Layla Hirsch versus Chris Statlander, which I guess Chris Statlander is the face. I don't see how being a good guy is telling someone that their parents were right to abandon them, but I'm sure there's a point to this, I guess. I'm predicting a Chris Statlander win, mainly just because they really are looking to elevate her into becoming a mainstay of the women's division, and I think she's rightly earned it, especially with where she was a year from now. She has improved immensely, and we might even see a gimmick change. Who knows? I'd love to see it. I'm looking forward to it. Also, speaking of the previous match, put Layla Hirsch in Team Taz. I'm just gonna have that take and move on. It makes sense when you put it all together. And our final pre-show match will be the House of Black versus Death Triangle and Eric Redbeard. You see, here's my thing with Death Triangle. I want to figure out what they're doing. Because I like Penta's new look, and the addition of Eric Redbeard, while cool, I don't really see ending the momentum that the House of Black has built, especially with the additive of Buddy Matthews finally being within the group. I'm going to pick a House of Black win, mainly because A, it's the right move, B, they just had Buddy Matthews debut, so they kind of want to give him a big win, and C, they have the best merch on AEWshop.com. I will not be elaborating. Alright, so with our first match in the main show, we have Jade Cargill versus Ty Conti. Jade's gonna win because she has that Goldberg-esque aura around her. While I like Ty Conti and I think that she should get a proper championship run soon, I don't see Jade losing yet. Whoever is going to be her first proper loss in AEW is going to have that championship for, I think, almost as long as Jade is going to hold it, and then some, to properly put them over to make sure that they didn't just hawk the title off Jade once, she faces who I predict is going to win a match later. But overall, it's probably not going to be a squash. I think Jade has a lot of promise and is getting better in the ring, and putting her in a match with a professional like Ty Conti, who is a trained martial artist, I think will do her a lot of good. So overall, this will be a good match, but Jade's going to pull out the win. Next we have, and I hate trying to say this acronym, the AHFO. God, y'all could have called it something different. But the Andrade Hardy Family Office. Yeah, there, I fucking said it. I'm not going to do another take of that. Versus Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting. If only if there was a match with, I don't know, maybe half of these people cut out who don't really make sense to be there or to be in there. I mean, I get it. You want Sting to be in a match on your first big pay-per-view of the year. But if only there was a match that maybe had I don't know, arguably the three best athletic performers in this group who could maybe face off, I don't know, maybe in a triple threat for the TNT title. That would be pretty cool if only you put that on the pay-per-view. But anyway, I think Darby, Sammy, and Stinger are, of course, going to come out with the win with a Matt Hardy yeet from the Family Foundation office, whatever the hell it's called. And, we're just waiting for Jeff Hardy to show up on Wednesday after this, I feel like. Also, Jeff, here's the thing, buddy. I did not sign a contract with WWE. I can say that. I can speculate that. Maybe you shouldn't let that, I don't know, slip out when you're doing an interview. Just saying. And next up, we have Jurassic Express versus Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. Look, I understand the criticism that the tag team division is not as great when the Young Bucks are not champions. But also, we have to put something into account when we have that take. One, the Young Bucks have only had one title reign as AEW World Tag Team Champions. They, of course, had the longest reign, and arguably, I don't even think it's arguably, they've had the best reign with the championships, allowing Jurassic Express to get into a match with Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, arguably the two best tag teams in the wrestling world today, is going to give them a lot of more prestige, I feel like, in their title reign. That's why I think they're not losing. Mainly just because you don't need the titles to progress the Red Dragon and Young Bucks feud, which, by the way, I hear a lot of complaints of AEW fans saying that about WWE's, title happy BS, but I don't see it a lot here. So I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't call it out. While I would love to see the Young Bucks as champions, I predict a Red Dragon distraction for the Young Bucks to somehow have a miscommunication to where they end up fighting too much, and then Jungle Boy comes in, gets a quick pin, and then they narrowly make it out with the titles. Because you can continue a storyline without having the titles involved and giving more people more time. Just saying. And coming up next, we have the match that is making my wrestling child heart so freaking happy. It is Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Which, let's be real, we're waiting for these two to combine and do some type of wrestling school type of faction. I'm super excited for it, but I believe Mox comes out with the win on this one. And I know what you're thinking, this will be the second big loss for Bryan Danielson, but hear me out. He doesn't always have to win. And yes, Mox can eat a loss, but with his first pay-per-view back after going to rehab, I think it would be the right move to give him the win while also still having them create the faction afterwards. Because Mox just said he doesn't ride with anyone he hasn't bled with. That doesn't mean necessarily that he has to lose in this situation. I feel like if anything, it adds more credence for them to join together if Moxley wins, mainly just because I believe that he needs a big win after coming back and to also solidify his new heel persona. Next up, we have one of my favorite wrestlers versus one of the wrestlers I cannot stand right now in Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston. This has been a common theme for Eddie Kingston in AEW, to where he can't always win the big ones, losing to Cody in the Open Challenge on his debut, losing to Moxley for the world title, losing his tag team match against the Young Bucks. And while yes, Eddie Kingston never comes up in the right amount when it comes to these big moments, he can still eat a loss, mainly because he is just such a lovable babyface. And as for me, somebody who grew up around men that didn't take care of their mental health, and a man who is now trying to take care of his mental health while also being near a very token masculine background in my family, I love Eddie Kingston because he shows me so much of myself. He shows me so much of men that I also know. Like, he's great. You love Eddie Kingston. It's hard to hear him without, loving him. He makes you realize that his character is just him. And he makes you believe that with Eddie Kingston, it's what you see, what you get. There's no gimmicks here, brother. We're shooting straight. But I'm going to stop going off about Eddie Kingston because he is my favorite wrestler right now. And who knows, there may be a video coming out about this guy that I will save for more times when I want to gush about Eddie Kingston. But Chris Jericho's feuds, I can't stand at the moment. It might be because he's trying to get over this new influencer gimmick. It may be because I want Santana and Ortiz to go do something else besides the Inner Circle, even though I love the Inner Circle. I don't know. I just can't really stand Chris Jericho right now. I think the Dan Lambert feud kind of did more harm than good. And also, the GYP whatever. Stop trying to get that over. It's not going to work. Anyway, Kingston better win or we riot. Next up, we have the Face of the Revolution ladder match with Keith Lee taking on Orange Cassidy, taking on Powerhouse Hobbs, taking on Ricky Starks, taking on Wardlow, taking on Christian Cage. There's going to be some big boys slapping meat. Big boys slapping meat. Big boys slapping meat. Big boys slapping meat. I think this is just going to be a really fun match, and I'm really looking forward to it. I love Keith Lee. Love Orange Cassidy. I love Hobbs. I'm glad he's finally doing something. Love me some Ricky Starks. Christian Cage is cool. And also, with the guy who I think should win is Wardlow. And look, I know I just complained about the tag team division and about how the Young Bucks don't need to hold the belts for the tag team division to get more coverage. I think Wardlow winning and then going right into the title will progress a MJF feud later down the line. And I think it's kind of important now to put him over because everybody else, Keith Lee has a really big ceiling. People love Orange Cassidy. I think they still have some room to breathe with Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks, where they can finally come into their own. And also, Christian Cage is just a really good hand to have in a ladder match. He's the Tom Brady of freaking ladder matches. But to me, it is now the time for Wardlow to get that big win. And it's time for Wardlow to be crowned finally as like the next big thing in AEW, because we've all been waiting for it. And after MJF's match with CM Punk, and that feud kind of either goes to a side or ends, which by the way, they need to revisit it. I think Wardlow is going to need to go into this feud with CM Punk, and this is the perfect thing to put him over really big. I'm thinking Wardlow. I'm sorry. I know people want Keith Lee. Keith Lee can do the match after, okay? I promise. I love you. I love Keith Lee. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you, buddy. Next up, we have the AEW women's match of Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. I really do love Thunder Rosa. If anything good were to come out of the situation of the pandemic, I'm glad I got to see Thunder Rosa on AEW television, and now she is the top babyface on the roster. And it is a beautiful thing to see because you can see Thunder Rosa is both a great person, a great professional wrestler, running a great promotion in Mission Pro Wrestling, and is genuinely just probably one of the sweetest people in the world. I mean, I don't know the woman personally, but whenever I go to an AEW charity event, I always see her there, like working with people. Whenever I listen to her interviews, they are always bright and inspiring. And okay, I'm doing the same thing I did with Eddie Kingston. I'm sorry, but this is the win I think is also needed for Thunder Rosa. I think this win is needed more than ever for Thunder Rosa, and while I love Britt Baker, I've loved her title reign, I love what she does, I think she can go off and do other things and become this like female Shawn Michaels. I think that role is going to fit her really well, and not having the title on her I think will get a really good way for her to kind of lean into that more. So I'm picking Thunder Rosa, please, and I will buy that championship shirt whenever it comes out with all my human money. And next we have the most anticipated match of the pay-per-view, the dog collar match between CM Punk and MJF. I'm so excited. Also, thank you everyone for watching my CM Punk and MJF video about their first match. I'm so happy that that video did so well, and it really makes me understand what you guys are wanting. So thank you. Anyway, you know, people keep going back and forth to where should CM Punk put over MJF clean? Should MJF finally have that clean match victory? And honestly, I don't think he needs it. And while yes, I do agree that MJF needs to be the person to take the title off Hangman Page, MJF is also one of those characters that can rebound from a loss, and I think is able to take one on his punch card right now. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, we all kind of know MJF is taking the title off Hangman Page. Fast forward to the next person to take the title off Hangman Page, and I am totally wrong. Let's be honest, MJF at this point deserves a title run. He deserves a title run in this company. He has done the most consistent heel work of anyone in professional wrestling, including Roman Reigns. And while that is the case, CM Punk should get this win, because right now we have a really big opportunity to build both of these men up for a title match later, and I would kill to see a CM Punk versus MJF cage match for the title. So I want Punk to win this one, and I really do think the dog collar match is my favorite stipulation in AEW, mainly just because the Cody Rhodes Brody Lee dog collar match is probably my favorite match of the recent era of professional wrestling. It's pretty big up there on my top 10 as well. And this is like a proper wrestling feud, that wrestling. So the end being a dog collar match really plays into the whole Roddy Piper gimmick. I really do feel like this is just going to be match of the night, and I'm going to call it here. But yeah, Punk should win, and we should get a title match between the two later on that's in a steel cage, because I like that wrestling. And finally, for our main event, we have Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole. I really do love that this is being built as the rubber match between Hangman Adam Page and Adam Cole, which, by the way, if you have not seen the last match for Adam Cole in Ring of Honor that is versus Hangman Adam Page, please go out of your way to watch it. It is an amazing match. But it is not time for Hangman to lose the title. It's definitely not. What I think this is going to be playing into is the implosion of the Elite storyline that they have been working on, that I think they're probably going to move to here pretty soon, so Hangman could have a title reign outside of his past, outside of the Elite, and really establish himself as a babyface. So I'm picking Adam Page to win, to then move on from the Elite so the Elite can implode without him, and then you can have them kind of team up later down the line, or have him and Kenny make amends. Which also, if I have one wild prediction in this show, I have just now decided that in these prediction videos I get to make one wild prediction, and I think Kenny Omega is going to come back tonight. I don't think it's really going to happen, but you never know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching Extreme League Wrestling. Those are our picks for AEW Revolution 2022. What match are you most looking forward to? Do you think I'm wrong? You probably do. Let me know in the comments. But go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and also check us out on social media. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great time watching AEW Revolution 2022.